Eric Abidal is not just a legend of Barcelona, right? He's not just a legend because he brought us so many trophies between 2007 and 2012. Abidal brought more than that today. Because of him, Barcelona have been grouped with 3 teams that are considered winnable. Now, to be more serious, Barcelona have been grouped with Porto, Shakhtar, and Antwerp. 3 teams that I do think that Barcelona can get through. They can score many goals and put out great performances. The reason why this is a big deal is because in the previous Champions League campaign, we were grouped with Inter Milan and Bayern Munich, and it did not end up going well because Barcelona had to exit out of that group stage very early. They did not even make it in the top 2. Inter Milan and Bayern Munich advanced to the next round, and the reason why we were grouped with those 2 teams in the first place is because before that, Barcelona ended up in 2nd or 3rd place in La Liga, which meant that Barcelona had to go up against very tough teams. But because in the previous season that we have just finished, Barcelona won La Liga, they were in 1st place, which allowed us to see much easier opponents through the group stages. And so this is huge news. There is no more excuses for Xavi Hernandez. There just cannot be, right? We have reinforced every area on the pitch. We have many great players. We're going to be signing Joao Cancelo. We're going to be signing Joao Felix. And now seeing the type of opponents that we're going to be facing, there should be no excuses. If we end up in 3rd place in the group stages, then yes, I do think that Xavi Hernandez's job would be on the line. If he ends up in 3rd or 4th place, we cannot allow this team to be exited so early. It would be embarrassing for this club to have everybody know that Barcelona signed all of these players. They signed Koundé, Christensen, Lewandowski, Rafinha, Joao Cancelo, Joao Felix, but only for us to be leaving the Champions League campaign during the group stages. So no excuses. And I think that by the time we do get into the round of 16 and in the quarterfinals, by then, yes, it is going to be much more difficult because we could see PSG, we could see Dortmund, we could see AC Milan, we could see Real Madrid, we could see City, we could see Bayern, we could see Manchester United. But by that time, Barcelona would be at their very prime. It usually takes every club to get to their best 4 to 5 months into the season. And I think that by that time in February, Barcelona will be in top shape. And especially knowing that Vitor Roque is also going to be there. Barcelona is going to be having a much different face. So look, I'm not saying that it's going to be 100% easy. I'm not saying that Barcelona is going to be winning 6-0 in every game. I think that Barcelona do have what it takes though to win the first 4 matches out of the 6, because that is what we need in order for us to go to the next round. We can do that. Now with Porto, I know that historically they have always done damage to other teams. We know Porto, we know how good they are. They are one of the best teams in the Portuguese league. And I think that Porto would give the best fight to Barcelona. But is it going to be enough? If Barcelona is on their A game, is that going to be enough? We don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But as of now, Porto can cause the most damage, and that is going to be the team that we just have to focus on. And honestly, I hope that Barcelona gets the job done early during the group stages. I don't want to wait until the last 2 games for us to know whether we're going to be advancing or not. We want to for sure lock a spot into the next round and then focus on our La Liga games. Now look, going back to Porto, Barcelona historically do have a great record. In the past 8 times that Barcelona have faced Porto, Barcelona won 5 times. Porto won the other 3 times. Now in the most previous game, it was back in 2011 for the UEFA Super Cup. Barcelona did beat Porto 2-0 with a goal coming from Fabregas and Messi. And Xavi Hernandez was in that starting 11. Isn't that crazy? And he was the one orchestrating the midfield. He was orchestrating everything for Barcelona. He was the engine at that time. And now seeing that Porto is again going to face Barcelona, but with Xavi being the coach of the club and not being one of the players, is fascinating to see. Time really is flying. As for Shakhtar, there's also history. Barcelona did face Shakhtar back in the 2011 year, right? During the 2010-2011 campaign. Barcelona did beat Shakhtar 6-1 in total after 2 legs, and one of the goal scorers in that 6-1 win was Xavi Hernandez. And again, Shakhtar is going to be seeing a former player they went up against, which is Xavi, but this time he will be on the sidelines coaching FC Barcelona. So this is so important, right? It's a huge deal because I think that if Barcelona can top the group, it's really going to give all of these youngsters that we have a lot of confidence. We have yet to see the majority of these youngsters go past the round of 16. Like, really think about that. And so can you imagine if Barcelona have the opportunity to top their group, go through the round of 16 and then go into the quarterfinals? It's very much a possibility. And with these players like Gavi, Pedri, Frenkie de Jong, Ferran Torres, Lamine Yamal, Alejandro Balde, Araujo, Christensen, Koundé, all of these players, right, witnessing themselves going past the round of 16, representing Barcelona, knowing that Barcelona's record in the past 2 or 3 years has not been good, it would be a huge boost in confidence that we can do well. We have literally been given the Real Madrid treatment. This easy group that we have been given has been going on with Real Madrid over the past 5 to 7 years, my friends. For Barcelona, is the opposite. We get the worst possible group ever. But now this time, Barcelona will have the advantage of what Real Madrid have been getting in the past 6 to 7 years. So here's what we're going to be doing in this video. I also do want to speak about predictions. I want to to say who is going to be the top 2 teams in each group that will end up advancing into the next round. And so this is going to be a lot of fun. You guys already know my predictions for Group H. I think that Barcelona and Porto will go through. Porto have the experience. They know what it's like to play in top European football. They're going to go through. Barcelona, same thing. They have very high expectations, mainly because of the amount of signatures that we have been doing. And I think that Barcelona have a point to prove. And the players and Xavi Hernandez and everybody else, and we also know ourselves. We know this. We know that Barcelona have a point to prove, and so we have to get through. So stepping away from Group H, let's go into Group A. And I think that the top 2 teams that will be going is Bayern Munich and Manchester United. This is going to be a very interesting tie. Bayern Munich and Man U do have a huge history. Last time they faced that was in a huge occasion was back in 1999 in that European final. Manchester United were the winners on that night that led towards them winning the cup. And I think that with United finally coming back into the European scenes with Ten Hag, could they actually beat Bayern Munich? We know that Bayern Munich most likely will top this group because they are Bayern Munich, and you know they have been facing each other over the past 10 years, but the biggest occasion was back in 1999. And I think that United themselves have a point to prove against Bayern Munich because everybody is expecting for Bayern to top the group, but could United be the surprise? Moving on towards Group B, it's going to be Sevilla and Arsenal. Now it's very sad for me to say that I don't think that PSV will go into the next round. PSV does contain 3 total Americans, and I am from the United States. I will be following PSV. They do have Serginho Dest, they do have Pepe, they have Tillman, 3 total American players, and they're also going to be having Luke de Jong, a former Barcelona player. As a matter of fact, Serginho Dest is a loanee from Barcelona, so we'll see how PSV do in the Champions League campaign, but I don't see them going past Sevilla and Arsenal. Arsenal are a juggernaut of a team. Arteta is doing a great job with Arsenal. They're probably most likely going to be topping the group. If anything, I do see Arsenal going into the last 8 total teams. And as for Sevilla, Sevilla are very well known for knockout competitions, and I think that if Sevilla know that they have 1 game on the line to get themselves into second place, Sevilla will get the job done, and PSV are not going to end up seeing the next round. I just don't see them going through. So for me, Sevilla and Arsenal. Moving on towards Group C, I will be saying Real Madrid and Napoli. Real Madrid will go through because Real Madrid do what they do best in the group stages. You know, there's nothing really special, but we all know how Real Madrid like to win their games. As for Napoli, I think that Napoli will go through, mainly because I think that in the previous season, it gave them a lot of confidence. They won the Italian league in first place, going over Inter, going over AC Milan. Napoli understand their level. They know what they could do. They're also currently in second place in the league, and I think that Napoli are coming in with a lot, right? A lot of momentum. So I do see Napoli and Real Madrid going through. Moving on towards Group D, I can see Inter Milan and Benfica. Now, keep in mind, I think that any of these teams can go through. Inter Milan can pull off a upset and they don't go past the Group D. I can see Salzburg doing damage, Real Sociedad doing damage. We know Real Sociedad very well because we have faced them over the past 2 or 3 years, and we have talked about them multiple times, but I just feel like Benfica are going to be having the upper edge because they experience much more European challenges every year compared to the other competitors. And with Inter Milan, they have players with the likes of Lautaro Martinez, Alexis Sanchez, Thuram. I don't know if you guys remember Thuram from that World Cup 2022 final. They have Bastoni, Dumfries. They have a great set of defenders. So Inter Milan most likely and Benfica will go through. Moving on towards Group E, I'm going to be saying Atletico Madrid and Lazio. Honestly, I have no real study on any of these teams besides Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid have just beaten Rayo Vallecano 7-0. I think that they're going to be having a great season overall, and especially in the Champions League, but I haven't really studied Celtic, Lazio, and Feyenoord, to be honest, and I'm just going to be leaning on Lazio. Going on to Group F. Now, this is where I would say this is the group of death, right? This is probably one of the most exciting groups that we have seen in the past 7 to 8 years. Many would debate and say, no, the season where it did include Barcelona, Inter Milan, and Bayern Munich, that was the group of death. Like, yes, I do think that that was a group of death, but this is nothing close to what we're seeing with Group F that contains PSG, Borussia Dortmund, AC Milan, and Newcastle. Usually the 4th team is the weakest, but right here, the 4th team, which we all consider Newcastle, is not really that weak, to be honest. Like, Newcastle have been doing phenomenal in the Premier League. They were in 4th place in the Premier League last season. Like, isn't that just crazy to hear? In a league that contained Liverpool, Brighton, Aston Villa, Tottenham, and Brentford right below them. Newcastle was very close to United and very close to Arsenal. So I think that Newcastle can cause a lot of damage, and so it can go either way. It's really hard for me to predict how Group F will go. If everybody's on their A game, I don't know. I have no idea. It's really going to come down to who's on their A game or not. If one team drops their level by a small margin, they will see the consequences. And so they're going to need to be very consistent. PSG under Luis Enrique. I know Luis Enrique is going to want to come back into the European stages and showcase exactly why he is a Champions League manager legend. And with Kylian Mbappe staying, I can see PSG also having a great group stage presence. Borussia Dortmund. We don't know how Borussia Dortmund is going to go. Like, I know that Dortmund have been seeing a lot of injuries, but with Malen, Sabitzer, Kahn, Wolf, Hummel, almost all in shape, I think that they can also do damage. Like it's really hard for me to predict who's going to be coming out on top. They also have Gio Reyna, who just came back from a leg fracture. Gio Reyna is probably one of the most talented players, and it's going to be awesome, right, to see AC Milan and Dortmund face against each other, because there's also going to be like 2 or 3 total Americans. Pulisic, Yunus Musa versus Gio Reyna if he does start. So honestly, I'm just gonna say this. I think that Borussia Dortmund might pull out an upset, knock out PSG, and AC Milan will go into first place. I think AC Milan are the most built team. They have Leao, they have Christian Pulisic, Yunus Musa, Oliver Giroud, Loftus-Cheek, Theo Hernandez. They have a lot of good players. They're a very well-oiled machine. And so I can see AC Milan topping the group, with Dortmund coming in second, and with in third place PSG. I think Luis Enrique needs more time with this club. There's a lot of things that they have to figure out. And I think that in Luis Enrique's second season with PSG, I think they will see much more success. But I don't think they will in this season. And then last place, it will be Newcastle. Moving on towards Group G, and this is probably the most boring group stage I have ever seen in my entire life. Even the Man City fans know it. I have seen the opinions of the fans, and they all said it's the most boring group ever. Like, all the away games are going to be so boring. They're going to be facing Leipzig. Leipzig are not doing that well. They have Red Star Belgrade. Nobody knows who that is. And then we have young boys. Like, Man City are not concerned about any of these teams. City are going to do what they're going to do best. They are the Champions League winners. They are the ones. They're going to have to defend the Champions League trophy, and I don't see them like struggling against any of these 3 teams. It's going to be, for me, it's going to be City, and I would say Leipzig. Leipzig coming in second place, City in first place. So that, my friends, is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.